Well, I read it last night. In one of my, I think it was the New Path, yeah. And by Kriyananda, Paramahansa's disciple, follower. I read the importance, someone was being told somewhere, to keep the when he first came to Paramahansa, he was getting advice from all and sundry around the establishment that they were in, and the training given by the pastor who was asked to give him some training said the importance of keeping your mind on the spiritual eye, which is, if you like, where you frown between the eyebrows. Ever aware of this, always, all day long, just aware of that. Where you tend to focus your eyes when you're really concentrating hard on something. That in some sense enlightenment is going to come here. May do, I don't know. More reliably, I would say that focusing on God is what counts. Ever aware of God, practicing the presence of God, you see. By practicing the presence we mean being mindful of, aware of God, continually. You see, we are all in this world, and I think we're all in this world because our mind wanders in the spiritual life that we would otherwise be living in heaven. And that's no good. We need to be firmly anchored to the awareness of God. So, we get an experience, a training here in this universe. God sends us, if you like. We send ourselves. We say, this is no good, God. I need to be more constant. Give me training. All right, you better go down to earth. It seems to be appropriate for you. You will have a major problem there, and it will seem an all-embracing, utter problem to you. And it will drive you. It will drive you into realizing you need to be eternally mindful of me to have the fullness of life eternal. Else you will be constantly wandering into all sorts of dangers and unhappinesses. So we'll send you there to earth for training. Okay? And are you willing to do this? And I think we say yes. And if we didn't, it still would be best because he knows what's best. To miss out on eternity is the most appalling loss beyond your imagination. To have to suffer. So we come here for a quick lesson instead. And I cope with some, and you cope with some really awful, major problem that seems to eat away at all your life, all your happiness, all your joy. And you cry out to God for it, about it, ideally. and it drives you into his presence eternally. You are resolved to be ever aware of God, but evermore, because you know the unhappiness of not doing so. And you've learnt that here. It will have been to you an eternal blessing. Thank you, Dad. Now, in case you think you've got to go through some awful, terrible experience, I can tell you here and now, that's not the case, because it's happened to you already. That's why you're listening to me. Bless you. And you can here and now simply realize, of course, what I need to do is to be ever conscious of him. I've tasted and seen of what it's like when you lose consciousness of him. It's not good. And I don't want that to ever be my risk in eternity in heaven. Thank you, God, for sending me here to experience this. I embrace the lesson. I have learnt it. I'm so ready, Father, to ever be conscious of you above all else. Thank you, Dad. Love you. Thank you, Dad. So amazingly, you can say with St. Paul, I've found that in whatsoever estate I find myself, to be content. Thank you, God, for this blessing, for this curse, whatever it is. I thank you for it, because I trust you with all my heart. This is my way of trusting you with all my heart. This is my way of being ever aware of you, ever in your presence, that every good thing and every bad thing drives me into your arms in gratitude. Love you, Dad. Thank you, Dad.